to Baking with a Purpose. I'm Jamie, and this is the final episode. And I just wanted to really take a moment and, first of all, thank you for watching if you made it to this video, or if you are just watching this. And I really genuinely hope you learned something, because I learned so much by listening to this. It's hard, especially now when you're kind of quarantined in your own bubble, your own house, to kind of forget about how other people may be reacting to things. And especially as like a young person, it's very hard to, and I'm not saying that young people are incapable of this, obviously, but I think sometimes we get so busy, it's very hard to step out of our own kind of world and think about how issues we care about are impacting people locally and outside of our state and in the world and just in general. So I'm really grateful that I was able to do this, and I hope you learned. I learned, well, obviously some baking skills, and even though a lot of the times the things didn't turn out exactly the way I wanted, I feel like you can see, like, hopefully you can see a clear progression in how my skills were fine-tuned, and I hope that if you baked along with me, you can tell how your skills have improved as well. And on a more like reproductive health side, I was able to hear a lot more about the resources that I, as an Oregonian, have available to me. And I hope that if you looked through the description, that you were able to do a little research of your own and maybe find some things that you didn't know about what's available to you in your state, or if you're from Oregon, what's available to us here. And the biggest takeaway that I learned from all this is that a lot has happened, and I think Dr. Heidi said it best when she said she really expected there to be more progress than there has been. And so that's the biggest thing that I've taken away from this, is that there is still so much that we can do. And anything, I mean, that's the other thing that I picked up, is that anything helps. I mean, even just sitting down and like having the conversations with people is helpful. And when you're able to communicate with others and how they are experiencing a situation that you're experiencing, it can really open up your world and help you to sort of hone your perspective. It really is such a huge issue. Reproductive health care encompasses all kinds of different facets of our lives, and men and women and people and everybody in between, and all races, all classes, all education. I mean, this is something that impacts us all, whether you think it does or not. And so there's a lot of work to be done before things are, before people are educated in the way that I and reproductive health advocates would hope. There's a lot to be done before everybody has quality, affordable reproductive health care, and before everybody is able to get the kind of care that they deserve. And whether that's an abortion, whether that's some surgery to help like endometriosis, to help PCOS, to help with pain, to help with cancer, to help with STIs, to help with birth control. There are so many different aspects of reproductive health that are just, it's difficult to say what needs to be done next. But I would say, from what I've learned, that education is extremely important. And educating yourself and helping educate others. Like, now the things that I've learned, I've passed on to my friends, because I have learned so much. And it's important to share that with people. And it's important to encourage people to go out and do that work on their own, so that they know, should some situation arise when they need help, that they know where and who they can turn. Another thing that's important, and I think is another important first step, is advocacy and raising awareness. It's important, obviously, to advocate for yourself in a health setting, because sometimes that's just something we need to do men and women and everyone. And it can be hard to do that. It can be hard to stand up for what you need and how you feel, but it's important to getting the care that you deserve. And advocacy. There's a lot of groups out there that don't have the kind of care that they should be getting, like women of color, for example. I mentioned that in the intro, and I mentioned that in a couple other videos. They just sometimes they don't have quality access, and that really impacts their health, and that shouldn't be something that anybody has to worry about. But for now, it's really important to take different perspectives into account, and really do work to help people who maybe need a voice. And that's one of the things that a lot of the men I interviewed said, is it's important for men to kind of step aside and for women to have the mic and really help people know how, not to say that educating men falls on women, because it's up to men obviously to do the work themselves, but it should be important for women to have a voice and to speak up and say, hey, here's how this affects me. And I think if more people were maybe aware and able to kind of develop that empathy of how these issues affect women around the country, hopefully they may have more motivation to change the laws and at least advocate for women that they know and women that they don't know. It's really important to listen to each other and just have the conversations that can be difficult, because that's where the learning is going to come from. And even though this project was difficult in many ways, I'm very grateful that I was able to do it. And so what I really like to thank, first of all, the people that I interviewed. Thank you for sitting down with me and being so honest and giving me the chance to kind of look into your world and how you respond to these kind of situations. And I think your perspective will be extremely helpful to anybody who watches this. And I'd also like to thank Becca specifically, because if she hadn't decided to start her project, I don't know if I would have had the inspiration to do mine. And so she was really helpful in the interview, and looking at her page has just been so inspirational to me, and I'm really thankful that I got to talk with her. I'd like to thank also my parents and my friends and my boyfriend for being so great. My parents especially for helping me get my materials and letting me have cake all over the place for the past few weeks. And and I'd like to thank my advisor, Dr. Paul, because he really has been so supportive of me during this process, and I could not do it if I didn't have his enthusiastic feedback. So thank you. And I really hope you learned something. Like I said, even if you get just a little bit out of it, then I will have achieved my goal. So as always, I've linked resources in the description box for you to check out. Please feel free to leave a comment what you thought, or just if you have questions or critiques or anything. I'd really like to hear from you. And I hope you had fun baking along with me, and I hope you got some good info, and maybe I'll start this up again someday. But for now, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you soon. Bye!